Dick Pilotte is the project manager for Rainforest's Sewer and Water A team, known as SWAT. His expertise and team's capabilities have been leveraged from in-the-field experience throughout many years by handling large projects, needing technical support, and managing emergency bypasses, water storage solutions, and dewatering for some of the nation's biggest natural disasters. With the country's aging underground infrastructure, there's a need to deal with water and sewer lines breaking down more frequently. The SWAT team collaborates with the company's 65 branches and in-house engineering department, providing solutions so repairs and upgrades can be completed seamlessly, mitigating risks, downtime, and cost. Today, we'll learn from him about the behind-the-scenes efforts his team executes daily on behalf of its customers, the public, and the environment. And now to the interview.
First of all, can you just talk a little bit about what you've been doing and where you've been?
Okay. Well, I've been with Rainforest for 17 years. Right now, I'm presently project manager in Hurricane Maria recovery here in Puerto Rico. So we've been down here since roughly beginning of June. We installed 9 different pump stations, 26 large pumps to mitigate flooding from any tropical storms that hit here in Puerto Rico, or any large rainstorms for that matter, while the Puerto Rican government is repairing their infrastructure from the storm last year.
Okay. You've been there since June of this year, correct?
And I've been pretty much all over the United States through the course of the past 17 years with Rainforest, from Hurricane Sandy in the Northeast to Omaha to flood. My team is involved in most of the large, sensitive, visible jobs that our company gets involved in.
Okay. So you're a project manager or the project manager for the SWAT team? Are there several project managers, or you're it, or how does that work?
There are, actually, I manage the entire SWAT team, which
Okay.
is a group of project managers and technicians.
Okay. So what does the SWAT team do?
Well, SWAT team is an acronym for Sewer and Water A team, and we are all very experienced in what Rainforest provides for solutions. So we go right from the initial contact with our clients through the equipment design or project design, the quoting stage, mobilization, installation, and operate of these large special projects.
Big job. That's a really big job. So can you talk a little bit more about what managed emergency response is, and maybe give some examples?
Yes, for Rainforest, managed emergency response is what it takes to respond to these large emergencies. And the emergency could be something that needs immediate attention, like right now today, or a planned response, which an example of that would be a few years ago in California, they received a heavy snowfall in the mountains. And the concern was when the melt came in the springtime, that was going to overcome their infrastructure as far as the dams and hydroelectric capability. So that was a case where the planning was able to occur over a month period. So our managed emergency response typically is we will set up a team that's going to be in charge of this. So there'll be one person that's an incident manager, and then that team will be responsible for engineering, equipment design, project design, mobilization of that equipment to the site, or staging area. In the case of a hurricane, we would need to stage it in an area close to where the event is going to occur, but not put our equipment or our people in the line of fire, and then actually implementing these projects. We are pretty much vertically integrated, meaning we have all the equipment to do all the different functions that would be required in an emergency. We don't just have pumps, and we don't just have tanks. We don't just have treatment equipment. We have everything in our fleet to achieve the final goal in these emergencies. So from pumping to treatment to storage, whatever liquid or contaminated liquids needs to happen, we have that equipment in our fleet. Our clients don't have to deal with several different vendors to achieve their end goal.
Wow, so you're an all-in-one solution for so many of these projects.
Correct. Correct. And, it's like in Hurricane Sandy, an example would have been the tunnels in New York and in Manhattan, the Midtown Tunnel, the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, where, it wasn't only just pumping the water out. That water was contaminated with oils from the street, diesel, fuel, gasoline, whatever you would think would be on a highway. So that water needs to be not only pumped, it needs to be stored, be treated, needs to be tested, and then it needs to be discharged. So we have the capability to supply all of the equipment and the people to operate this equipment during those emergencies.
So going back really quick to Puerto Rico, how long do you think you'll be there, or at least have a team there?
The present phase, which we're in right now, is scheduled to end at the end of this year. However, we're in discussions now with FEMA, the Army Corps of Engineers, the Puerto Rican government to extend this through the next hurricane season next year and beyond. Their infrastructure here is going to take quite a while to repair these different pump stations. And the terrain in Puerto Rico is such that when you do get a heavy rain, because of the low levels, it's sort of like New Orleans, where the water needs to be pumped out even in a normal rainfall. So these larger storms, it's even more important that they have the capacity to move this water in very large quantities. One of our pump stations here right now, our pumps alone are capable of pumping 175,000 gallons a minute.
Oh, wow.
And we have 9 pump stations of different sizes set up all around the island.
Oh, wow. So Puerto Rico is an example of where you're not only helping to repair what's happened, but you're also there to help prepare for the next hurricane that we all know is going to eventually come back or occur again. Yeah.
Yes, when we arrived here in early June, there was Tropical Storm Beryl.
Okay.
That came through right when we got here. So we had to set up, an abbreviated system at a lot of these pump stations to kind of mitigate that damage. And then just recently, Tropical Storm Isaac came through last week, which dumped a lot of heavy rain on the south side of the island. So we're in the process now of just kind of recovering from that, taking care of the water levels that created.
Wow.
This project in Puerto Rico is kind of a living creature in that even during a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon, our pumps will be used to keep the flooding to a minimum in different neighborhoods.
Wow, this is a really super long-term project. Wow, that's amazing. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the largest I think we've done as a company.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
And then we have other projects that are planned that occur, like the Lake Agnew project in California.
Right.
Last year, everything had to be brought in by helicopter. It was quite a challenge, and then all the pumps were set up on barges, so they floated up and down with the level of the water of the lake, and everything was flown up to the mountain. Crews, equipment, fuel, all by, every day on a daily basis.
So about how long did you have to prepare for that? How long did you have before the snow started to melt?
We actually only had a few weeks from the time that we were contacted till we actually had to mobilize, start getting out there. So it occurred fairly quickly.
Yeah. Huh.
In our business, we don't always have a plan or the option to be able to look out, over a couple of weeks.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's a good thing.
And our branch actually in North Carolina is still responding to Hurricane Florence with the towns of Lumberton, Rivers, the Cape Fear River, Fayetteville, New Bern, North Carolina. They're still experiencing flooding until these rivers recede.
Yeah. How long do you anticipate having a team or teams in the Carolinas?
I would estimate we'll have teams there for several more weeks. Because after the neighborhoods, et cetera, will take care of that flooding, the fixed facilities like the water treatment facilities, sewerage, drinking water, the companies, the refineries, these things will take time to get repaired and get back online. So that may be several months before we're actually done with that work.
Okay. Going back to Lake Agnew, is Rain for Rent one of the only companies that could have pulled that off?
I would say we are the only company that could have pulled that off.
Okay.
Just the one contact. We brought in barges. The size of our pumps is unique to the industry in that we have 24, 30-inch pumps that are capable of producing a lot of flow in various conditions. And that particular job was at about 8,400 feet above sea level.
Oh.
So that affected the capacity of the equipment greatly, actually.
Wow, that was an incredible project. So you've talked some about some of the emergencies that you've been a part of helping with. Could you kind of list, for the purposes of this, some of the emergencies that Rain for Rent is known for handling?
Yes, we can go back, in my experience, 2005, I believe, to Hurricane Katrina, which I wasn't directly involved in, but our company had a lot of resources in there. We had the flooding in Omaha, Nebraska, a couple of years ago that we did. Obviously, Hurricane Sandy, Hurricane Matthew, last year, Hurricane Harvey down in the Gulf. All of these disasters, fires in California, where we set up basically water tanks for the firefighters to reload trucks, helicopters, airplanes. Arizona DOT, where we built reservoirs and pumped water 12 miles for the same thing for the purpose of fire control.
Okay. Does your team handle any situations that are not weather-related but are more purposeful planning, that type of thing?
Yes, actually, we do a lot of work when it comes to emergency bypasses for wastewater storage. Right now, we're working on one emergency in a different part of North Carolina that specifically involves storage. We've done, last year I did a job personally in North Carolina that was about 60 million gallons a day for a lift station rehab, which is basically the stations that are used to lift the water from various points around the city or municipality to get it to the treatment facility. So we're involved in a lot of those projects that aren't storm-related, and they're actually planned rehabilitation of infrastructure. And with the way the country is growing at this point and the way the infrastructure, the state of the infrastructure is and the age of the infrastructure, these emergencies of the municipalities, whether it's water, sewerage, or environmental emergencies, are occurring more often, and it's going to continue.
So it's a bad problem, but a good problem for for Rain for Rent to have, I guess, with some of the aging infrastructures and that type of thing.
Correct, because you never know when there's going to be a broken water line or a broken sewer pipe, and all of these things need to be addressed in a quick fashion. So, and we've done another job that I was personally involved in, and my team was the Muddy River bypass in downtown Boston in the Fenway district, actually a couple blocks from Fenway Park. And that was a complete bypass of the river, so they could rehab that area and basically turn it back into how it looked 150 years ago before the city of Boston built all of these buildings and streets and everything else around it. So those are typically the kind of jobs we get involved in.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the coordination, the creativity that's involved in some of the major bypasses that your team has helped make happen? I know you've touched on them some, but what does that look like?
The planning for these jobs is critical, actually, and it takes our team and more within the company to come up with these ideas, and we do often have to think of creative ways to overcome these challenges. A lot of times it's space involved or getting equipment up to, like a lake, floating it in a pond, building a reservoir, erecting a million-gallon tank as a transfer point. We oftentimes have to be flexible and responsive to the various site constraints, if you will, that we need to deal with. So the experience of our team, because all of our project managers have many, many, many years in the industry, it brings a whole pool of talent to look at that project. So if there's one particular person that doesn't have that specific experience to handle that job, the entire team put together has pretty much seen every different type of project that we need to do. So that knowledge is available in our group somewhere.
So I know that something that's maybe a little bit unique for Rain for Rent is you've got this whole engineering department. How do you tap into that to help you solve some of these issues that you run into?
Our engineering department is the best in the industry. We typically call on them even while the job is in process. These folks can help us with the unique situations that we get thrown into. And oftentimes, as in this Puerto Rico project, our engineers will accompany us on the job walks.
Okay.
To look at these and to come up with a plan to mitigate whatever challenges we have. Oftentimes, it is our equipment that they need to design around and the footprint to design around to achieve some of these outcomes. Our engineering department can handle the safety aspects of a project, the technical aspects of the project, and then obviously the mechanical and the equipment aspects of a project to, again, get that design outcome.
Right. Okay. And Rain for Rent, you also have sales reps. How do they loop into all of this? What's their role in all of this?
Our sales reps, oftentimes I don't refer to them as sales reps. They're sort of technical people.
Okay.
They have to know, sort of like a high-tech salesperson would be.
Yeah.
You have to know the equipment. You have to know the industry. You have to know what the customer's desired outcome is going to be and how to approach it from start to finish. So it's more of a technical sale than it is just being a sales rep. I often refer to them as, sort of technical advisors to our clients. And how do we take their pain away? How do we make it easier for them to do what they need to do in a reasonable manner and not always based on, cost or things like that. They need to take a really creative look at how to achieve what the customer wants to achieve. So it takes a little bit more experience, a little bit more varied thinking, if you will, to achieve these goals.
Okay. So we've talked about your engineering department, your sales department, or really technical advisor department in a way. Let's talk about your customers. What kind of capabilities are valued the most by your customers?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, I kind of figured that might be.
Yeah, our capabilities are incredible. I mean, we have product to basically help them in whatever their liquid handling need is.
Yeah.
I mean, we have filtration products. We have storage products. We have miles and miles and miles of pipe. We have, obviously, the pumps that can do it. We have instrumentation that can let them know what valves are open, what valves are closed, how much liquid is flowing, where it's going. The chemical composition of that is the pH too high? Is it too low? Is it cloudy? Does it need to be cleaned up? Do you need to cross roads, highways? The pedestrians need to get around it. We have a tremendous amount of safety products to go along with that. So you can't just run these big pipes down the sidewalk. You have to be in compliance with the local codes. So these are all things that we bring to our clients that make it easy for them to do their job.
Okay, yeah. That is a loaded question.
There's so many things. We have so many different products. And again, that's where our team comes in, is we're able to pull on this from our company. We don't have to go to several different companies, and that's what I meant by vertical integration is we have this all in-house, right from, the sales, engineering, our logistics department to get the equipment there, and our SWAT team, technicians, and project managers that can actually get the project built, running, and then operating.
Right. So obviously, going back to Puerto Rico, your plan is probably not to be there forever. How do you transfer your knowledge to the people that are there, people that are supposed to handle this type of thing in Puerto Rico? How do you teach them or train them or equip them to deal with it eventually?
Great question. It sort of leads me into We developed an entire training program specifically for the DRNA, which is the Department of Environmental Resources in Puerto Rico. So we have an entire manual we wrote for them, and we've had several classes for them to transfer basically this technology to them so that they can understand what they need to do to run these systems in the future. So we're working side by side with their operators pretty much on a daily basis to teach them and allow them to be able to run this project on their own once we leave, if we do leave.
Okay, that's good to know. That's another part of your capabilities. So just a couple.
Yeah, it's basically startup operations, maintenance, troubleshooting, who to call, what to do in different situations or different emergencies as these emergencies arise. And then the support for them going forward will be there. And we did it in 2 languages, obviously, English and Spanish.
Oh, okay.
So it makes it easy for them.
Yeah, makes it that much more valuable. Yeah, just a couple of other questions. What's the single most important thing you've learned from working these projects through your time with Rain for Rent?
Actually, the most important thing of Rain for Rent is our commitment to safety and protecting our clients, the population, and the environment, and putting things back to where they were before the event happened or before we got there. That's our priority. That's the biggest thing that we do.
Thank you for listening to this interview. For more information or to contact us, you can visit rainforrent.com.